I like the color brown a lot. I think it's a beautiful color. As you can see, I usually wear it. It's one of my favorite colors to wear. It's the color of earth. It's the color of tree. Like the trunks of the trees. It's like an earthy color. It's the color of chocolate. It's really nice. Color of coffee, which I love. But it's also a color of shit. Which brings me to today's topic, which is a new movie of Snow White. And should we watch the video actually together? And then we can start commenting on it.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign. I am. I mean, the original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so. There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her.
Yeah.
Weird.
Super weird.
So we didn't do that this time.
So no prince or a different kind of prince?
We have a different approach to what I'm sure a lot of people will assume is a love story just because, we cast a guy in the movie. Right. Andrew Burnap, great dude.
So, here on, I will refer to the new, quote-unquote, Snow White as Snow Brown to distinguish it from the original one. So, the lady that acted as Snow Brown, first thing that...
Rachel Zegler.
Yeah.
Is her name.
Yeah. First thing that she said that raised a bit of an alarm in me is how she mentions, that Snow White was written in 1937, so it's outdated, and it comes with the attitude that I see that is a general attitude in our modern times, that is like, it's just an old stuff, therefore it's lower in some ways than our new stuff. And it's interesting for me to see that, because there's a clear contradiction there, right? Which is like, well, if you consider, my dear Rachel, that the stuff that was written in 1937 it needs to be updated, so to speak. My question is, why don't you come up with a new story then? Or the producers of your movie, or their directors, why don't they do their own story then? Why do you need the story of the old stuff? Seems a little bit parasitic to me, and it's not that nice. And it goes with the general spirit of our times, right? That is basically, let's take a shit on our forefathers, basically. That's what it is. And in a way, it shows how these stories were actually powerful and beautiful, because parasites don't parasite what they consider not to be healthy, right? A parasite doesn't attempt to parasite an unhealthy body. It always looks for what is actually good in order to parasite. So by the attempt to lie and degenerate, they're also telling us the truth. Quite interesting.
I think what she or someone in that camp would say is, yeah, sure, I appreciate it. I appreciate Snow White and the story and the elements and the themes in it. But it's not perfect. It shows its age a little. There are some things in there that we don't like anymore, that we can see that we were wrong about in the past. So that's why we still honor it by taking the basic story, but we also changes up a little to correct what was wrong back then. That would be their response, right?
Yeah, maybe. But again, it is... my perception is just a lie, because again, it's like, then why would you say that?
What would you say if they said that? to you?
I would ask
Because
her
that's what
then.
I read in there. Sure, she does it in a sort of arrogant, whimsical way.
Correct.
I don't think that she. I think that she assumes that what I said is the case, but I don't think she really understands that. She just went along with that idea, I think.
Right. I mean, the thing is that why is that clearly not the case is because they do actually make an attempt to degenerate the basics of the story, right? Like they make the princess not being saved. So those elements that are, they were not there by perchance. They were not like, oh, whatever, like the color of the hair of the character or anything like that. They had symbolic meaning, etc. So it is clear, of course, that is a lie. But
Yes,
to
but is it her lie? Little bit
she's a puppet. She's a puppet,
idiot.
but she's a
Yeah.
puppet for the devil because she is
Yeah.
participating in the lie and she is using her own mouth and her own words to purport the lie. Because she could also say, oh, I don't know much about that. I'm just an actress. I thought the movie was cool. Oh, well, okay. She
Yeah.
is participating actively in the lie. She's a fool. There's no doubt about that. And
She is
yeah,
loyal
it's interesting.
to the lie, basically.
Yeah. And it's interesting how there's this overarching theme about it, that right, which is like the disdain and the hate, even honestly, about the father in a way, like as archetypally, right? Because culture is like that. It's the heritage of our forefathers, and obviously, oh, but what about mothers? Yeah, obviously them too, because they obviously were not as hateful as many of our modern women's. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had that beautiful stuff being handed down to us. And it is quite silly. It's like speeding up in a way, and then they undermine themselves that way. So, yeah, the bright side, I guess, is an opportunity for the people who are truly seeking to make actual art to actually do something more interesting. Like sooner or later, people's psyches will yearn for the actual stories, right? And it is
Yeah,
interesting to
they
me.
already do, I think. They're a little bit caught up in criticizing and like the anger porn, like criticizing and being angry about how fucked up it is. But beneath that,
Right?
there's already the true yearning was always there, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But what I think is it's true that the Disney leaders, the Disney elites, sure, they want to pervert it. They are probably a lot of them are evil. But I think in a way what happened now with all the criticism for this girl seems to me also like a trick of evil to put like everybody is blaming her as the reason that the movie failed, right? She gets the most criticism because she in public was arrogant and ignorant and said stuff that would make a lot of people mad and did stuff that caused them pain. But sure, you say she is participating. Sure, that's true. But the big cause of the trouble is actually the ones who decided to do this. She didn't write the story. She didn't. She had probably very little say. But now all the attention has gone to her because she had a few very unlikable moments. So people project it on her, but it's way more the fault of what she's serving, the 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 elites of Disney.
Yeah, but it's expected to be like that because that's how the inverted hierarchy works, right? The healthy hierarchy, their higher responsibility goes hand in hand with the higher agency, right? But in the inverted hierarchy, is the other way around. When they don't need you or when you make a mistake, they brutally let you down. So that's a lesson. If that happens to her and that affects her in a way, it's like that's a opportunity for her to realize that she's hanging out with fucking losers. Because all people who are corrupted are puppets. Even when they are in the top of the whole hierarchy, they're still a puppet, which is fascinating to observe that. In case, like, I didn't know that when I was younger, because I thought that they actually had their own agency or something like that. But at some point, I realized that is like, no, like the puppetry, it is kind of hierarchical. And that's what's the first time that I started thinking about the devil in a more, not in a woo-woo way, but also not in a discarding it in a rationalistic way, thinking that, the contrary of woo-woo, which is also woo-woo in a way, more like a symbolic way, that is like, oh, these people are puppets too, even if you're in the top of the worldly hierarchy that is spiritually corrupted, they are also puppets. So I thought, then puppets to what exactly then? And it's like, oh, it's to evil itself. So just like in the righteous hierarchy, in the ideal state, everybody is a king, you see? And then you still have a hierarchy which is still be based on worldly things, right? So maybe the one who is at the very top is also the more intelligent one and the one who has more experience and knowledge about the world. But the one in the lowest of the hierarchy, maybe he's not very bright, doesn't have much worldly power, but he still has the kingly essence, in the sense that they are all also connected to the principle, which is basically God. So in the inverted hierarchy,
that in the real hierarchy, they are also all don't have power of their own, because ultimately God has the power?
Correct. Nobody has power on their own. Everybody has delusions of power, but nobody has power on their own. All power comes from God, and then all delusions that you have worldly power is a delusion that the devil feeds you. The devil wants you to think that you are the one in charge. The true power comes from the truth, which is God.
She is indeed. I looked up some more of her, and she is like really arrogant. Like it's like more than most people, most woke people even.
Yeah, she's a buffoon. She's a textbook narcissistic person.
Yeah,
She's
she.
a buffoon.
I think she even said that about herself. I don't know for sure, but I think I read something like that. And it was so interesting to me. She responded to the flop, basically, of the film, right? Of the Snow Brown film. And her way of speaking is just, I am still enjoying myself, and even though people still like me, and blah blah blah. And it was so obvious that she was so hurt inside, but she just kept speaking about how
Right.
amazing she and her work and her friends and her whatever is. And this was interesting to me. It's so obviously not, I
Right.
can't even be hurt by it or get angry at it, because it's so,
Yeah, it's sad.
it's not working. Yeah, it's sad. Yes.
Yeah.
So I
yeah.
actually do feel a little sad or a little sorry for her, in the sense that so many people are just angry at her because she is unlikable, because she is arrogant. And that makes it so much worse, the backlash. And that there, I think, yeah, I know she's dealing with it very badly, but look through it. It's quite easy to look through it, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. I always wonder with people who are clearly narcissistic like that, which is same as demonic possession. Like even maybe worse, because it is like complete subservience to the devil, right? And like an absolute attempt to put the ego above the true self.
Yes, but with the Rachel girl, I perceive her I can still see her innocence. It's in a way she doesn't even have to do anything. For me, for her, obviously she's not perfect. She's not, but in the way she's fucking up, I see the innocence behind that. Even in that video we watched, she was saying like weird, weird, you know. That there was some innocence in there, and of course that weird is meant to exclude the other,
Put down, yeah.
to put down, but just her freedom, her sort of unawareness with which she did it, that was innocent to me.
I mean, I agree and disagree at the same time, in the sense that, yeah, narcissistic people, in this case, for the simplicity of the conversation, I'm just going to refer to the full-blown narcissistic / what I have also come to understand that are people who gave their will to the devil, basically. They said yes to the stuff that was inside of them that they maybe at some point they could perceive as being weird or wrong, but it gave them some immediate advantage on the world, and then they say yes, and then they protect that in themselves completely. Like they completely refuse to see it and to suffer having that inside of you, which is a normal path of a human being that has to grow and return to paradise, so to speak, return to innocence. That's why it's a painful path always, because you have to see all this darkness inside of you and detach from it and whatnot. So what was I going to say? Oh, yeah. Once you understand these things better, you can see the superposition of what to call it. Like you can see behind the demonic ego, there is also just a person that is okay. That is like, there's nothing intrinsically wrong with Rachel Zegler. She's just a human being. She's a woman, and she has qualities of a human being and a woman, and that's it. But inside of them, because the devil wants to steal what belongs to God, right? The devil wants to adjudicate the glory of God to themselves. So they want to steal that. They want to be the creators of themselves. So they, for example, adjudicate, in the case of a woman that is pretty like her, they want to adjudicate their beauty to themselves. They want to adjudicate whatever happens in their life that is given by God, because everything is, they want to make it about themselves. They want to steal the credits of life, so to speak. But behind that ego, the devil is the essence of the true person, which belongs to God. So it is like watching a person being tortured in a way. It is quite, once you become aware of that, it's quite the sight. And it's really interesting because in my case, as I became aware of that, I was able to both be compassionate in the sense that I don't judge the person. I don't judge Rachel Zegler as, oh, she is the cause of this. That would be actually falling into her game, right? Because she isn't. She is powerless. But at the same time, I also very clearly and simply see that on the practical level, it's like, yeah, it is dangerous. Like, people like that are extremely dangerous. Like, you have a child with her and you fucked up. Like, oh, shit.
Yeah. But what I feel with her is, sure, when you can see the innocence behind it, it's almost like the evil just dissipates. I don't deny, that it's in there, or that she has problems, or that she serves it. But when you can see that essence without being naive, because I think I see the same things as you, but I put just the way that I can look at her makes it almost irrelevant. You know, it's not that I'm gonna forget it or that I'm gonna say it's something else, but
I
yeah,
I
it
think
will be crowded out. In my life, someone like that, her evil or her flaws will be crowded out by my vision. Basically, I think that if she allows me, if she comes in my life in whatever way, and she allows me to be there, I think it will be fine. And it may not, it may be that she still isn't fully healed within, but I think that in my presence this won't manifest. So and that's also the power of love, right?
yeah.
That you can look at people in a certain way, and you're better at seeing the innocence of some people than you are of other people, you know, as long as you're not at the master level, which sadly I'm not yet. But there is difference. I mean, this is why we have romantic relationships also, right? There are people where you have a sort of special vision of them, even though you might love the gardener just as much, but you know, there's a sort of difference. And this is also a thing. If you with some people, you can see their innocence so well that their bad side, even though you know they maybe an hour ago they were in that those patterns, that your vision, your love, your awareness makes it impossible to manifest it in that space. So that's a bit how I look at it. That's a bit what I feel with her. That
Yeah,
if she would allow me to be part of her experience, I think that this would happen.
oh, that's beautiful. Well, there you have it, Rachel. DMs are open.
But
She'll fix you. You can fix her, bro.
there would have to be a sort of similar power level, I think, because she has so much more power now that it's possible. Maybe it's not possible for her to like look through the cloud
Yeah,
and
but
see
I
that
want
essence.
I want to comment on that because that's actually fascinating. I agree a lot with what you're saying because you can also see the two sides of the lie, right? Which is very clear in the different groups nowadays. So there is the woke side. The lie would be like, yeah, you know, she's innocent, but losing the practical. So they pretend to have the vision that allows to see through the devil into the real essence, which is true because the devil ultimately it doesn't really exist. It's like a smoke or some sort, or just to put it metaphorically. It doesn't have its own substance. It's always parasitic upon God, basically. So that's true. And then, but the other side of the lie, which is more like the manosphere type of stuff, would be more like, oh no, she's just a piece of shit or something like that. She's just evil, blah, 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 and that's it. But it is somewhat paradoxically, the most courageous thing is to seek the innocence behind it without losing the practical aspect that she is evil. But she's also, it's not her essence. It is like a possession of some sort. Yeah, in any case, if Rachel Zegler sees this video, know that my friend here is willing to fix you. The first test would be, can she accept that she needs fixing?
Yeah, and I wouldn't do. I don't have a plan to fix people. You can't fix people unless there is unless they want to do something. Right. But I think I I think I can see her essence a little bit. She could benefit from it.